2024 will please come to order. Good evening. Welcome to those of you who are present with us this evening. If you would, please take a moment to check your cell phone to make sure that you have placed it on silent or vibrate. And for those participating remotely, we also welcome you. Members of the public are asked to place their microphone on mute during the meeting with the exception of any public hearing, At the appropriate point in the meeting, I will invite the public to unmute their microphone for purposes of submitting any comments they may wish to make, one person at a time. All persons wishing to make public comments will be asked to first state their name and address for the record, and after completing the comment, members of the public are once again asked to place their microphone on mute, and we thank all of you for your cooperation this evening. If you would, at this time, please join us in rising for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Mrs. Hazen?
Here.
Mrs. Volker?
Here.
Mr. Carroll?
Here.
Mr. Benicki?
Here.
Mr. Emmons?
Here.
Ms. Hahn?
Here.
Mr. Van Valenti?
Here.
Mr. Violi?
Here.
Mr. Hixenbaugh?
Here. Approval of the minutes of our regular meeting of August 5th, 2024. Are there any additions or corrections? Then hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as received from the clerk's office. Petitions, communications, remonstrance, and memorial.
From the Board of Zoning Appeals regarding their recommendations from their August 12th meeting. Honorable members, a regular meeting of the Mishawaka Board of Zoning Appeals was held on the above referenced date, at which time the following use variance was considered. Appeal number 2024-30, an appeal submitted by Continental Properties, Springs at Mishawaka, requesting a use variance for property located at the northeast corner of North Fur Road and Beacon Parkway in Mishawaka, Indiana, to allow for a temporary sales trailer. The board, with a vote of 5-0, provided a favorable recommendation. This is signed by Donna Burkhart, Administrative Planner.
Thank you. This evening, we have no report of any special committee nor any ordinances on first reading, so we'll move into resolutions.
Resolution R 2024-17, a resolution of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, approving a petition of the Mishawaka Board of Zoning Appeals for the property located at the northeast corner of North Fur Road and Beacon Parkway. This is to have a temporary sales trailer.
Thank you. With that, we will now open the public hearing on proposed resolution 2024-17. Anyone wishing to speak, if you would, please come forward to the podium. Seeing no one, is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak on proposed resolution 2024-17?
Mr. President,
Mrs. Volker.
I would suggest that if there's nobody here representing the
Helen.
people asking for this, that we postpone until our next meeting.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to postpone further public hearing on proposed resolution 2024-17 until our next regularly scheduled council meeting in order to allow the appellant to appear before us. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. The matter will be postponed until our next council meeting. With that, we'll move into ordinances on second reading.
Proposed ordinance number 2024-21, an ordinance amending Title 15, Chapter 162 of the Municipal Code of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana, as from time to time amended, henceforth known as the Erosion Control and Post-Construction Stormwater Pollution Prevention Ordinance of the City of Mishawaka, Indiana.
Thank you. May we have the committee report, please?
Thank you, Mr. President. To the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Public Health and Safety, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 2024-21, report that they have examined said matter and that, in their opinion, should be adopted. This is signed by the entire committee, and I move for its acceptance.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the committee report. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. With that, we'll move into second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 2024-21. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, if you would, please come forward to the podium.
President Higginbotham, honorable members of the council, I'm just here to speak in favor of the ordinance before us. And, Mishawaka does things.
Mr. Lynch, if I could be so rude to interrupt you, although we all know who you are, not everybody does. so
I'm
this is
sorry,
just-
Matt Lynch. My address is 1721 East LaSalle Avenue. I work here at City Hall. Thank you. My apologies. I worked with Chris a bit on this ordinance, but it's part of Mishawaka's environmental stewardship and ensuring the sustainable development of Mishawaka. Mishawaka, I think, stands out as one of the good actors throughout the region, our state, and I would say even nationally. We all know of the Flint, Michigans or the Benton Harbors, but we do things very sustainably, very integrated, and very well. I think this language just cleans up some things and really brings us up to where we need to be. And we are already practicing this. We just need to make sure we're stating it in the way that EPA and IDEM wants it in terms of an ordinance. And so I'd ask for your favorable vote on this. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Lynch? Thank you, sir. Anyone else wishing to speak in favor, please come forward.
Good evening, Honorable President and members of council. I am Chris Jamrose at 100 Lincoln Way West. Give you a business address, it's easier. I do wish to speak in favor. This is specifically the illicit discharge division of the sewer use ordinance. Just to give a quick history, this is IDEM's Office of Water Quality. This is an administrative or master general NPDES permit for discharges into the surfaces of the water of the state from municipal separate storm sewer systems. We all know that as MS4 today. They replaced the formal general permit by rule, the Indiana Code, with this administrative master general NPDES permit. The general permits are issued in 5-year increments commencing on December 18th of 2021. This is the same date that the Indiana Code was repealed and it became effective. So bottom line, we're trying to get in compliance with what's already in place. There's no real change to the general residential public. They have basically what we're doing today, we're just trying to get things in line. And so I do ask you for your consideration for the necessary updates to stay in compliance. And we have till September 27th of 2024 to get in compliance. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any questions for the city engineer? Just one out of curiosity, Chris. I see in here that there's a reference to a prohibition against illegal connections, which would make some sense even to a layperson, that we don't want people just willy-nilly making their own connections and not have a feel for what is flowing into our sewers. How frequently does that happen, if at all?
Today, not often. There are historical things that happened back in the 70s, 60s, or maybe as late as the 80s. People made connections inadvertently to the storm system with sanitary. And as we find them, we definitely get them corrected. And we did find one about on 4th Street about 7 years ago. So as soon as we find them, we make sure they're disconnected and connected in the proper place.
I hope that streak will continue.
Yes.
No non-conformance. All right, any other questions for the city engineer? Thank you again.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? Please come forward. Then is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone present this evening who wishes to speak in opposition? Please come forward. And is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there any council members who wish to speak? If not, then I call for the question.
Question?
Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. Hazen?
Yes.
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Benicki?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Ms. Hahn?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Violi?
Yes.
Mr. Higginbotham?
Yes.
Proposed ordinance passes 9-0. Proposed ordinance number 2024-22, an ordinance of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, amending the municipal code by updating sewer services to comply with EPA regulations.
Thank you. May we have the committee report, please?
To the members of the Common Council of the City of Mishawaka, your Committee on Public Health and Safety, to whom was referred the matter of proposed ordinance number 2024-22, report they have examined said matter and that in their opinion should be adopted. This is signed by the entire committee, and I move for its acceptance.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to approve the committee report. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. With that, we'll move into second reading and public hearing on proposed ordinance 2024-22. Anyone wishing to speak in favor, if you would, please come forward to the podium.
Honorable members of the council, President Hixenbaugh, Matthew Lynch, 1721 East LaSalle in Mishawaka, and my day home is right here, 100 Lincoln Way West. And again, we are bringing this to you because it is banded that our code is in compliance with EPA regulations. But more than that, it's ensuring the health, safety, and welfare of our community, and it's paramount and is therefore necessary to apply and live up to stringent standards for managing erosion, controlling stormwater pollution, post-construction. Chris will get into a little bit more of the details, but it really brings us into compliance in terms of our code, but it's already what we live up to. Any questions?
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Lynch? Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Anyone else wishing to speak in favor? If you would, please come forward.
Good evening, good evening again, President Hixenbaugh and members of the council. I'm Chris Jamrose, I'm 100 Lincoln Way West, and I am here to speak in favor of the revisions for the erosion control ordinance. This is in conjunction with the previous administrative general NPDES permit you considered tonight. Thank you for that. IDEM also issued revisions to the final general permit for construction of stormwater discharge under separate public notice. In layman's terms, this is the erosion control for all construction sites. Basically, this has been in play since the Rule 5 in 2000. They've been changing and refining and adjusting the language of the rule, and so this is merely just putting us in compliance with their vision, and it does not impact the general residential citizen. So again, this has a deadline of September 27th of 2024. I would appreciate your consideration.
Thank you. Any questions for the city engineer? Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak in favor? If you would, please come forward. Then is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in favor? Is there anyone with us this evening who wishes to speak in opposition? Please come forward. And is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak in opposition? Are there any council members who wish to speak? If not, then I call for the question.
Question.
Madam Clerk, would you please poll the council?
Mrs. Hazen?
Yes.
Mrs. Volker?
Yes.
Mr. Carroll?
Yes.
Mr. Benicki?
Yes.
Mr. Emmons?
Yes.
Ms. Hahn?
Yes.
Mr. Mamalenti?
Yes.
Mr. Violi?
Yes.
Mr. Hixenbaugh?
Yes.
Proposed ordinance passes 9-0.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move into privilege of the floor. And at this time, members of the public are invited to the podium to speak with respect to non-agenda items only under privilege of the floor. Seeing no one, is there anyone participating remotely who wishes to speak under privilege of the floor? Thank you. With that, we'll move into unfinished business.
Yes, we have the reconsideration of Resolution 2024-25, which is a use variance to allow 2 permanent storage containers at 940 East 12th Street. This resolution would be amended to include the conditions.
Thank you. At this time, in order to enhance the enforceability of the conditions that were committed to by the appellant at our prior public hearing, the chair would entertain a motion to approve Resolution 2024-15 as amended pursuant to the hard copy of the resolution that has been distributed to the council.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. A motion has been made and seconded to approve Resolution 2024-15 as amended pursuant to the hard copy that is in possession of the council. Any additional questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Thank you. The matter, in the opinion of the chair, the matter is passed unanimously. And with that, we'll move into new business. Is there any new business to come before the council? If not, then a motion to adjourn would be in order.
So moved.
We're adjourned. Thank you, folks.
I don't know. I was